One of the biggest surprises when James Gunn back in January announced part of Chapter 1 for his DC Cinematic Universe was DC's Creature Commandos. Because not only are these characters and like a team I've never even heard of, but for this to be not only a project in Chapter 1 and like one of these main projects of this new DC universe, but literally the first one, because this animated series is going to come out on HBO Max, or Max as they're calling it now, before Superman Legacy, which we were thinking is like, oh, that's going to be the kickoff to this universe, but this is going to be the first project. So that's kind of crazy. But we know a little bit about this series now. We know it's basically going to be like another Suicide Squad, like a supernatural Suicide Squad, kind of like Suicide Squad but with monsters. So Viola Davis is going to be back as Amanda Waller, and she is going to be recruiting all of these monstrous creatures to go out and do some Suicide Squad type missions. And I believe it's a 7-episode series, or at least season. Each episode is going to be 25 to 30 minutes long, and these are characters that James Gunn has promised that this DCU is going to be a very interconnected, continuity-filled DC universe. And so some of these characters, like, yes, this is an animated series, but we are going to be seeing some of these characters come to live action at some point as well, just as how we're having Viola Davis as Amanda Waller go from live action to being animated in this series, and then back to live action for her Waller series on HBO Max as well. So today we have our official cast. So James Gunn came out and confirmed after Collider put out the full cast. James Gunn said, in addition to Frank Grillo, he's going to be playing Rick Flag Sr., welcome David Harbour as Frankenstein, Indira Varma as the Bride, Alan Tudyk as Dr. Phosphorus, Maria Bakalova as Ilana Rostovic, and Sean Gunn as G.I. Robot and Weasel, Zoe Chow as Nina Mazursky, and Steve Agee returning as John Economos. So right there, another character from live action, of course, John Economos in the Suicide Squad, and also Peacemaker as well, Diebeard, as Peacemaker called him. He's going to be in animated form here as well. So let's take a look at the cast. So we got Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr. This one here is no surprise at all, because Frank Grillo has been rumored for this project for a while now. He confirmed earlier this week, or like last week, that he was officially joining the DCU, and it's been a thing for months now that he's been talking about, oh, I might be joining the DC universe and all this stuff, and we kind of assumed this would be the project, not only because he would fit this role, but also just this is a show that's casting at the moment. And it's an interesting role because I love Frank Grillo. I really enjoyed him as Brock Rumlow, aka Crossbones, in the MCU, but I'm excited to see him get a bit of a bigger role here in the DCU as Rick Flag Sr. But that's the only thing that kind of confused me about this role, is he's Rick Flag Sr. So of course we had Rick Flag played by Joel Kinnaman in Suicide Squad and The Suicide Squad. He and Frank Grillo are like the same age. So how is this guy supposed to be passing off as his father? Especially if he is one of the actors who comes to play the character in live action. Like, how are you supposed to explain that? I mean, it won't be as bad since Rick Flag is dead, so you won't have to have them side by side and be like, they're supposed to be father-son, but they could be literally like brothers. So that's a little weird, but I think like he's got a good voice for this role, so I'm really excited for this one. We also have David Harbour as Frankenstein, which is a big surprise to me. But I love this casting because I love David Harbour. And I think he's perfect as Eric Frankenstein. I think that's really, really good casting right there. And his bride is going to be voiced by Indira Varma. She is actually, according to supposed leaks, going to be the lead of at least the first episode, and like the story will be focusing mainly on her. So definitely interesting with that little tidbit right there. We've got Alan Tudyk as Dr. Phosphorus, which is probably the thing about this I'm most excited about, because I love Alan Tudyk so much. He is so funny. He's so hilarious. He's such a good actor. The first time I ever saw him was on Doom Patrol Season 1. He was the main villain of that show in Season 1 as Mr. Nobody. And I've just gone on to not only see him in so many other things, but discover that things I had seen even before that he did voices for. He's great at voice work. I mean, he's been in so many Disney and Disney Pixar animated films, and I love Resident Alien. Resident Alien is a great series if you guys haven't watched it. He's awesome in that. Um, so he's done a couple different things for DC now, and has he done anything for Marvel? I don't know, but he's definitely a great actor that I'm super excited that he is going to be joining this universe. He actually, speaking of Marvel, I can't remember off the top of my head if he's done anything for Marvel, but he is my fan cast for Impossible Man in the MCU when we get the Fantastic Four and stuff. But he is going to be playing Dr. Phosphorus, which is another character I'm really excited to see. A more obscure Batman villain. And this is one of the characters that specifically has been rumored for a little bit now will be appearing in live action. Now, whether that is the Brave and the Bold movie or maybe one of these other projects, maybe Waller, will remain to be seen. But this is really exciting. I mean, Dr. Phosphorus is a really cool character. The only thing is, I'm not a fan of the orange look. I wish he had the green look that he usually has in the comics. But Dr. Phosphorus, Alan Tudyk, I'm really excited for this one. We've got Zoe Chow as Nina Mazursky. I'm not familiar with that character or actress. It seems like a Creature of the Black Lagoon type characters. That's pretty cool. And we have Sean Gunn, of course, brother of James Gunn, reprising his role as Weasel and also doing the voice for G.I. Robot. Weasel, I don't really know. Like I doubt Weasel is gonna suddenly start talking, so it'll probably just be like grunts and groans and that kind of thing, like he did for the Suicide Squad. But G.I. Robot, I think that's pretty cool. I think that's good casting. Sean Gunn, a lot of people, kind of bag on James Gunn for the fact that, like, oh, his wife is Amelia Harcourt in the DCU, and she keeps popping up in all these projects. But, like, nobody talks about Sean Gunn. But that's because, I mean, Sean Gunn is actually a good actor. And not that Jennifer Holland isn't. It's just that, Sean Gunn had a career outside of James Gunn movies, and Jennifer Holland doesn't really. But Sean Gunn, great actor. I love him in the Guardians movies. He was, it was good for the Suicide Squad, not only Weasel, but also his cameo as Calendar Man. So I'm really excited to see him do the voice as G.I. Robot. And we also have Maria Bakalova in here as Ilana Rostovic, who is a character that I Googled, could not find anything about her. So I'm assuming it's an original character. We do not have a first look at her in that official concept art for the series. So kind of a big old mystery question mark on this character. But Maria Bakalova, I think she's hilarious. I loved her in Borat 2. She's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 doing the voice of Cosmo the Space Dog. So obviously got that connection with James Gunn. So, man, I'm really excited for this one. I mean, this show, again, not anything I ever thought we would get, especially kicking off the DC cinematic universe. But, I mean, when you look at these types of characters we got, and then we got Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr., Maria Bakalova as Ilana Rostovic, Indira Varma as the Bride, Zoe Chow as Nina Mazursky, Alan Tudyk as Dr. Phosphorus, David Harbour as Eric Frankenstein, and Sean Gunn as G.I. Robot and the Weasel. Like, this is a great cast. And it looks like it's going to be a good show. I mean, I'm actually really, really excited for this one. Again, this is supposed to come out before Superman Legacy, so sometime probably, maybe not early, but at least like probably sometime next year on Max. Again, because it's not called HBO Max anymore, or whatever. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the official voice cast for the DCU kickoff project animated series on Max, DC's Creature Commandos? So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything goes on in the DC life.